Well, hello and welcome to this week's edition of On Deck with Avoya, your weekly travel update. I'm your host, Chris Greene, Director of Network Expansion for Avoya Travel. It's great to be back on the air with you today after being off the last couple of weeks. We appreciate your time for tuning in, and we really hope that today you hear something that piques your interest and makes you want to find out more, because we would love to connect with you and have you connect with an affiliation specialist who can explain all of the amazing resources offered by Avoya Travel for those in the Avoya Network. Really best-in-class resources that you're going to find in the whole leisure industry. We're really proud of that, and we hope, again, that you reach out, you get that process started. We would love to have you as a member of the Avoya Network. We have a great show lined up today as we welcome back to the show Viola DeVelasco, Vice President of Sales Operations at Avoya Travel. We'll be taking an Avoya Insider look at Viola's recent participation in the PATH Symposium, the ASTA Global Convention, as well as her day-to-day role with Avoya Travel and the resources that Viola helps to manage for the company. Oh, and did I mention groups? Because Viola is the supreme commander of the groups realm at Avoya Travel, and we look forward to discussing this elite resource as well. So I look forward to having Viola join us again here in just a couple of moments. Another busy week in travel news, and we'll touch base on some of the top stories we are following in our Eye on the Industry feature. Those stories include some much needed rain in Europe that are helping to keep the river cruises afloat. United Airlines reporting that this summer's travel boom is continuing into the fall, always good to hear. And that Holland America Line, they've become the first and only cruise line honored for their commitment to sustainable fish management for the seafood they serve on board during Alaska itineraries. We'll have the details on all of those stories coming up here in just a minute. We continue to have great success with our military appreciation promotion. We'll provide all the details on how those that serve and do serve, have served, keeping this country free, how they can join the Avoya Network at a discounted price for them and their spouse. We'll touch base on our amazing resources for both a new to the travel industry person, as well as the seasoned travel advisor, because the resources provided by Avoya Travel are designed to meet you where you are in the travel industry. We're talking live leads, amazing technology, professional development, and so much more. All of that for those in the Avoya Network. And we'll wrap up our show making sure you have all the ways to reach out and, again, get that process started. So let's kick it off. This week's episode of On Deck with Avoya, your weekly travel update, some industry insights, and our Eye on the Industry feature. Well, the rain wasn't falling on the plains of Spain or anywhere in Europe, for that matter, for most of the summer, which caused some major disruptions and cancellations for most of the top river cruise companies. I mean, Scenic, Emerald, Avalon Waterways, Amadeus River Cruises, Uniworld, Viking, they've all had to either cancel or alter cruises this summer. And those alterations can be a little bit of a pain for the guests, right? They involve having guests switch ships sometimes, use motor coaches and rail service to complete disrupted itineraries. Well, thankfully, Mother Nature has cooperated. The weather patterns have changed and brought some much needed relief to the point that the cruises are now sailing without disruption as the rivers fill up again. Quoting the Globus family of brands Chief Marketing Officer Steve Bourne, the rainfall Europe has received in recent weeks has improved the water levels, and as a result, Avalon Waterways cruises are operating normally. The nature of rivers is to ebb and flow, and we're thrilled our guests are enjoying their vacations as they were intended. Now, the Danube and the Rhine have been the most impacted so far by those water levels. Cancellations are the last thing, of course, anyone in the travel industry needs, and this is going to provide some good news heading into the fall for travel advisors and certainly for their clients. So wonderful to hear that. Big thanks to Travel Weekly, by the way, for some of the information in that story as well. Demand is still strong for United Airlines as we head into the fall. In a regulatory filing yesterday, United adjusted its revenue guidance for the third quarter upwards slightly. The carrier now expects to beat its operating revenue from the third quarter of 2019 by 12%. Compared to when in July it said it would only beat it by 11%. United Senior Vice President of Global Network, Patrick Quayle, said there's been no drop-off in demand for flights to Mexico, the Caribbean, or Europe. Quoting Mr. Quayle, we're seeing a really strong September. It does not appear that summer has come to an end. It's that strong. This news comes just as cancellations and disruptions to airline schedules seem to be easing as well. Again, another sign of great news. U.S. Airlines only canceled less than 1% of the flights during the 4 Labor Day weekend travel days, according to Flight Aware, and that ended a summer of poor operations, and at least it ended on a positive note. And finally, in a story I saw on Travel Pulse, Holland America Line is the first and only cruise line to have been awarded the Responsible Fisheries Management, the RFM certification, a commitment to serving fresh, sustainable, and traceable Alaskan seafood. The RFM logo is placed on every Alaskan fish the cruise line sources, ensuring travelers know exactly where their seafood comes from every step of the way, ensuring travelers that their food is caught sustainably and legally. Quoting Gus Anchora, president of Holland America Line, Holland America has shared Alaska adventures with our guests for 75 years, and supporting sustainable fishing and local business is an important commitment for us. We've pledged to buy and serve only local, sustainable, fresh seafood on Alaska voyages, and RFM certification is a crucial step in the commitment to sustainability that we share with our guests and fishing families of Alaska. In celebration of the new certification, guests on board Holland's Alaska itineraries can now enjoy some tasty new recipes in the main dining room, including the fried Alaskan cod sandwich, Alaskan salmon chop, and the roasted fennel Alaskan halibut. Tasty stuff. You know, I really love being a remote employee for Avoya Travel. I mean, I like working from the comfort of my own home. I love the flexibility it gives me to travel more. But sometimes I actually miss seeing my amazing coworkers face to face. But thankfully, I get to attend most of the major industry functions. And just a couple of weeks back, I was able to catch up with one of my favorite colleagues, Viola DeVelasco. We were together in San Francisco for the ASTA Global Convention. And now Viola is kind enough to give us some of her precious time for a recap of that event and so much more. So let's welcome in our Avoya Insider special guest this week for On Deck with Avoya, Viola DeVelasco, Vice President of Sales Operations. Viola, great to have you back on the show.
Great to be here. Thank you for having me back.
Of course. Viola, before we get started, can you give us a little bit of your background? I mean, because you've been in the travel industry for quite some time, and how you ended up as the VP with Avoya Travel?
Oh my goodness. So in my previous life, I was in banking, believe it or not. And it was late 80s, and there was a lot of merge. And I took that opportunity to cash in my profit sharing. And I was looking for where to invest my money. I thought I was going to do it on real estate or my brother. And my brother instead told me that my sister-in-law was looking for a partner for her travel agency. So spent 10 years owning my own agency. It was corporate travel, lots of airline tickets. And then the airlines started cutting commissions. So 1999, I started looking around. I had already moved to the San Diego area. And one of the most visible travel agencies in the area was Anderson Travel and Cruises. So fast forward 23 years, and here I am, still with.
As the supreme commander of all things, man, you are a mover and shaker, no doubt about it. So as the Vice President of Sales Operations, Viola, what are some of the things that you oversee that benefit those in the Avoya Network?
I oversee 2 departments and a program. So I have the sales accounting department, the group department, and the offer match program, all reporting to me. Sales accounting department is in charge of processing all of the commissions for the independent agencies in the network. And my personal commitment to the network, commissions are paid as soon as they are received. And as you know, we have been having some very nice payment weeks for the last, 2 months. It's been amazing. So I'm in charge of that, making sure everybody gets paid.
Yay.
The group department, yay. The group department and the offer match program, both of those exist in order to provide our independent agencies a competitive advantage. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely. And we're going to dive a little deeper into the groups department here in just a couple of minutes. But right now, I wanted to circle back to when I was lucky enough to spend a few days with you recently up in San Francisco when we both attended Yeah, the ASTA Global Convention. We had a couple of great meals, always lots of laughs. San Francisco, again, is just an amazing city to spend a few days in. Now, you went into the San Francisco area a couple of days earlier for the PATH Symposium, right? That's the
Correct.
Professional Association of Travel Hosts.
Travel hosts.
First off, tell me a little bit about what the purpose of PATH is and about your experience in participating in that symposium.
Well, the symposium is on its 13th year, and the purpose is to bring together host agencies to work on issues and challenges facing us, not only as an industry, but specifically our place in it. So you have the suppliers and the travel advisors. That is the normal thing. But here we are in the middle, the host agency. So this particular organization brings us together to discuss those things. And the difference of this gathering from other industry events is that it's more like a think tank. And, you know, the meetings are structured so that we meet together, just the host agencies, and then we also meet with the suppliers. This year it was the largest, and it was, I think, about 100 participants, 40 on the host agency side and about 60 on the vendor side. And even though we meet for a very short period, it was extremely, extremely productive. I actually loved it, so much so that I will be going to the next one in Puerto Rico.
I know, next year. How exciting, right? I mean, it's going to be exciting. And that event is moving to the spring next year, I believe early May.
Correct. It is always done in combination with the ASTA Global Convention, you know, so it makes it easier for all of us to just go to one place and take care of business on both sides.
For sure, absolutely. And that kind of dovetails into my next question, which is about the actual ASTA Global Convention that we both participated in. For you, what were some of the highlights of this year's event that you experienced, Viola?
Well, you know, always seeing you, of course, and Skip and everybody else. Meeting some of the independent agents from the Avoya Network that were in attendance. Of course, that's always a highlight because they're all over the place, and we no longer get, I mean, we not always get to meet in person, but seeing everybody was one of the highlights, not only within Avoya, but also with the suppliers, especially because of the last couple of years, we haven't been able to meet in person.
Right.
And so that was one of the things that was, you know, of importance to me. And also the other aspect is education. There was a couple of sessions that were of interest where, you know, I could then come and share it back with the network, my newfound knowledge.
Absolutely. For me personally, I was really impressed with the advocacy dinner this year and just the astounding amount of money that ASTA was able to raise in order to fight for the travel agents and the travel advisor industry, right? I mean, these are your people that are on Capitol Hill talking to the politicians in their ear about the things that are important, right? I mean, and we have to have that advocacy for our industry to survive.
Right. It was not too long ago that somebody said that there were no longer travel agencies. How many were we at that meeting?
Yeah, I know. No, it's pretty crazy. Why do you think it's important, Viola, for travel advisors to participate in events like ASTA and Cruise World and you know, Cruise 360, the home base show in Las Vegas, things like that?
Well, you know, this industry is about relationships, first and foremost. So fostering those relations with the travel advisor and the supplier. But again, education. A travel advisor that is serious about the profession has to be, you know, keep themselves abreast of the goings on, not only in the industry, but in the world. And with the suppliers, and what better place, you know, we're at our homes, whether it's in an office or at home working, and sometimes we are so busy we don't have time to sharpen the saw, which is gain the knowledge, which is only going to serve your clients ultimately, and make you a successful travel advisor.
Because, one of the things that we love to say at Avoya, right, Viola, is that the numbers don't lie. And guess what?
Numbers don't lie.
Agents that participate are engaged. They sell more. When the sales operations team is getting those direct deposits ready, the agents that have commas in their direct deposit are usually the agents that take the time to have engaged and stay abreast about what's going on in the industry. Don't you agree?
Correct. Totally, 100%.
So it seems like your suitcase never stays empty for long, does it?
No.
So fresh on the heels of this trip, fresh on your heels of San Francisco trip, you're getting ready to head to Alaska as part of the Avoya Mastermind Boot Camp at Sea. Is that right?
That is correct. We leave not this Saturday, but the next. So what's going on at that event? As you know, we already had our virtual. This boot camp is going to be on the brand new Discovery Princess. So we had a virtual boot camp where we discussed everything Princess. But the in-person boot camp will have a series of great sessions prepared for the independent agencies in the network by Avoya executives and personnel. And we will be talking about agent power, sales techniques, managing your business, marketing strategies. And of course, I will be talking about maximizing profits with groups. It'll be great, as it always is. And I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it should be a fantastic event. And I'm looking forward to seeing the pictures kind of living, vicariously through you and some of the other people that I follow. And hope
it's
have a
one of our
fantastic
largest academies.
Should be fantastic. Yep.
Should be fun. Yes.
And we're always announcing something like that. So if you're not part of the Avoya Network and you do join, you can certainly become part of some of these in the future, the boot camps, the national conference, the academies, the land forums. I mean, Avoya Travel, if you're going to be an engaged individual as a travel advisor, we have lots of ways for you to use that engagement wisely. Our special guest today is Viola DeVelasco, Vice President of Sales Operations. We certainly appreciate her time for being our Avoya Insider guest today. Now, Viola, for years, one of your main projects has been overseeing the groups department at Avoya Travel, which you do an amazing job at, along with Tanya Martinez, Director of Groups. In your opinion, what makes the Avoya Groups department stand out as such an amazing resource for the network?
Well, let me put it this way. At any given time, the Avoya Network has access to about 100,000 staterooms.
Wait. Say that number again. That's pretty staggering.
100,000 staterooms.
Wow. Okay.
Over a number of cruise partners that have a price and or an amenity that gives them an advantage over our competitors. So that is the main reason, so we go to market with the lowest price available. It's just, I don't know what to tell you. So, we moved in the years that I have had the group department reporting to me. We went from 100 groups to now over 4,000 groups at any given time.
4,000 groups at any given time.
4,000 groups at any given time, and they are a work in progress as sailings sail depart and return. More groups are being created. We create groups about 3 years in advance, so we already have 2024. As soon as the vendors, the suppliers announce a new deployment, we will get advance notice of that deployment, and we will start searching for what is the best for the network as a whole. And of course, with the help of the business intelligence department, we can look at the path, look at forecasting and determine which sailings, with which departures, and which vendors will be successful. And that's how we select what we do. I usually tell people that it's just where I want to go.
Right. You get your magic 8-ball out. We'll have a group here and here and here and here. But
right.
And then just to drive home the point, Viola, because sometimes people confuse, we're talking about groups, the 4,000 groups at any time that Avoya has, that we're kind of managing, that those in our network can sell into like an individual. If they're working with an individual company, they can sell into that group. That in no way replaces the fact that our affiliates can also have their own groups, right?
Correct. Two different things. The promotional groups is what we call the Avoya groups, the ones that we create way in advance for everybody to book into. And then the IAs have their own affinity groups, which are geared towards the benefit of a consumer that has contacted them, which has any type of commonality. You know, it may be a family that wants to travel together, a club that wants to travel together, an organization that wants to bring people together, like our boot camp. We could call it an affinity group because we're all going for one specific purpose. Churches, you know, there's all kinds of groups that each individual IA then has. You know, we have IAs that specialize in weddings and, you know, wedding planning and destination weddings. And so those are affinity groups. And they can be on a cruise, they can be on a hotel, they can be at a resort, all kinds of groups. But yes, we also oversee those groups.
That's fantastic. So again, the resource to have the competitive advantage, the resource to be able to use the groups department to assist with your affinity groups. I mean, it totally is a win-win situation.
Correct. We have, I mean, a dedicated department that all they do is live and breathe groups. So we are very familiar with the terms and conditions of the majority of the suppliers, so we can assist the IAs, you know, in the technicalities of managing a group, right? Yeah, making sure that it's balanced properly, that all the commissions are collected, that they don't miss the deadline, all those things.
Viola, being around you, your passion, your energy, it's just infectious. What is it about the travel business that you love? Because I think that's a pretty fair, accurate description that you really love what you do and you have a strong passion for it.
I do. And I'm very thankful that, you know, the job affords me the opportunity to feed my passion. But I wanted to share this with you because I knew you were going to ask me this question. I found a quote the other day from Robert Louis Stevenson that spoke to me, and it says, "I travel not to go anywhere, but to go. I travel for travel's sake. The great affair is to move." And I think that's one of the things, you know, during COVID, when we were cooped up, I was literally climbing up the walls. I had to calm myself and said, "Viola, you have nothing to complain about. You have been places that most people have never been to or will go to. So chill out, rest, you know, there'll be opportunities in the future to do so. And thank goodness we're starting to travel again."
So other than the work trip that we've talked about, anything exciting on the travel calendar coming up for you personally?
Well, you know that I have Alaska coming in September. I'm going to Mexico for a family wedding at the beginning of October. Then I go to, where are we going in October? I go to Cruise World in October. Then, of course, is the Beyond. We're having our conference. Our annual conference, the Avoya conference, is on the Beyond this year. And we have Puerto Rico next year. All of those are work. For personal, I I have a huge list. What can I tell you? So I'm trying to figure out. Africa is I've never been. So Africa is on the bucket list, definitely. And I have to get planning on that. I would love to go back and spend a month in Europe again, like I did 4 months ago. 4 years ago. This time, probably Greece. I have an island that I got an eye on an island that I want to go to. You know, it's like you have to have something to look forward to, and it's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. One of these days, you can write a book about how to pack for a month in Europe too, right? Because here's the thing right? You went to Europe for a month and you only brought a carry-on, didn't you?
Correct.
Your packing techniques.
I packed for 7 days. I just did that for a 14-day too. And a friend of mine said to me, I can't believe you.
Hey, I'm going to hit you with a question that just an ad lib question because it came in on the Q&A and somebody was talking about the number of groups that we were discussing, right? And of course, it's open knowledge that Avoya Travel has been part of the American Express Consortium for many years. American Express has made the business decision that they're getting out of that business and they're sunsetting the program for everybody. It has nothing to do with Avoya personally. But they were wondering if the group numbers that you were talking about were just Avoya groups. Like, is that number going down because American Express is going away?
No, as a matter of fact, we've always had more groups than American Express ever gave us. The American Express groups with some of the vendors included some departures that were not very profitable for us. So I would rather not have those anymore. But no, we always have more groups than American Express and better managed than American Express, I should say. And that's what I'm going to say about it.
Yep, right, absolutely. And while I don't know anything firm, I do know that probably here in the next month and a half at the very latest, we're going to be announcing some exciting news as we make our final decision about the future of Avoya Travel and the consortia that has been courting us, and we've been courting them, and the whole 9 yards. So we're excited about how that's going to unveil too. And so there'll be more opportunities for the network.
There will be opportunities.
One last question before we wrap up. Given all that you know about our industry, your years in the business, what are your thoughts on the future of leisure travel and its long-term prospects for success?
Well, you just announced it at the very beginning of the program, United saying, you know, adjusting their forecast for more profits, more sales. We've been traveling lately and you have seen the airports. Their airports are busy, ships are being filled, prices are going up. I think people want and need to travel, and the world needs people that travel. So I have another quote for you.
Okay.
One of my favorites. Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness. And that one is from Mark Twain. And I think that the world needs, the world needs love, right?
Right.
People that travel, I think, expand their horizons. And so travelers do make a better world.
What a perfect way to end. Viola DeVelasco, everyone, Vice President of Sales Operations for Avoya Travel. Viola, thank you again for your time today, and I look forward to seeing you, I guess, in a couple of months from now, right, in Fort Lauderdale.
Yes. Looking forward. See you then.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Bye, everybody.
So next week, during our On Deck with Avoya show, we'll be introducing you to a great business owner and travel advisor, Carrie Kirsten, owner of Carrie Kirsten Travel Design, LLC, an independent agency in the Avoya Network. Carrie and I will be discussing her thoughts on the current state of the travel industry, what Carrie's hearing from her clients about their travel plans for now and in the future, her thoughts on the future of leisure travel, and we'll also solicit a few tips and tricks from Carrie on ways that you can stay engaged with your client base so you can sell. And I can't wait for that. Meet the Network Q&A with Carrie next Thursday at our normal time, 2:15 Eastern Time, 11:15 Pacific, right here on all of our normal channels. All right, so we've had about the last 6 weeks or so, we've had this veterans discount, and it's just being so well received. And it's just an honor for Avoya Travel to recognize those who serve and their families, because the families serve too. So we have this discount for veterans and their spouses, $100 off the affiliation fee. You can go to avoyanetwork.com. You can put in the request, and we'll certainly make sure that, when you're working with one of our specialists, that that's noted and that you're able to get that price break. Again, just a great way for you to get involved in the travel industry. And speaking of involvement in the travel industry, whether you're new to the travel industry or you're an experienced travel advisor, Avoya Travel has the resources to really help prop that dream up of being a business owner. Programs that you can really sink your teeth into, best-in-class resources like live leads and technology, professional development. We just heard about groups. We heard about getting paid. One of the things that really point of pride for Avoya Travel is that throughout the whole COVID crisis, we never missed a week as far as getting payments out to our independent affiliates via the direct deposit link, which is how we pay them their commission. So again, join the #1 host agency in the industry. Just reach out, get connected with somebody on my team. They'll be more than happy to answer all of your questions. So how do you reach out? Well, that's pretty simple too. There's my email, chris.greene@avoyatravel.com. Feel free to shoot me an email personally. You can go to the website, avoyanetwork.com, has a wealth of information on our program, or you can just pick up the phone and give us a call the old-fashioned way as well. We'll get you connected with an affiliation specialist. A big thank you again to Viola for being my special Avoya Insider guest this week, to Marissa and Annabella in trade marketing for doing an amazing job in producing our show. I'm looking forward to next Thursday with Carrie for a Meet the Networks segment. And until then, take care, my friend.